Hello, everybody. I'm back again. If you would, as usual, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing movie reviews again in this format until I get certain equipment together. Uh, kind of, kind of run on a shoestring budget as of right now, but until we get everything straightened up, and I will. This will be the format, unfortunately. Get better equipment, all that stuff. So this is gonna be kind of the new the this is the road to the new start, I guess. So the movie I'm going to be talking about is One Battle After Another, written, produced, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, PTA for short. If you know Paul Thomas Anderson, he does a lot of smaller films. I think this is his highest budget film, if I'm not mistaken. The budget is, I think, is over $100 million. So this is the biggest film he's ever made. And then you got your you got your name actors in there. You have Leonardo DiCaprio. Cast is Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Bob, and Bob is basically you got Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Bob Ferguson, Tiana Taylor, Sean Penn. You have I've never heard of Chase Infinity. She's in here. You have Regina Hall, and you also have Benicio del Toro, who's also in this movie as well too. And basically, what this movie is about is, well, I guess first I can tell you. So for those who don't know, Paul Thomas Anderson, I've never reviewed any of his movies on my channel, but I've watched a lot of his movies. He's not like a he's not like this. He's not like this high budget director or anything like that. His movies are usually more. They have more of like an indie feel to them, and they usually tend to focus more on the artistry of like filmmaking, with like subtle storytelling. Like he does subtle storytelling. He does like subtle characters, things of that nature. But at the same uh, so at the same time, you do have characters that you have a saying. I'm just laughing at my brother texting me. So you basically have this character that these characters that are a part of this revolutionary thing. Well, I guess we're going to the plot of the movie. So basically, the movie is about this revolution, and there. I've heard people online call them terrorists. I don't think they're necessarily terrorists. They're revolutionaries that that are trying to overthrow and make a statement. And I think so. Basically, they're like, if they're against certain things, they're radical. They do things like they bomb certain clinics, buildings, stuff like that. They actually physically go out and they free refugees from refugee camps. And this gets the attention of the government. I can't remember any of the actors' names in there. I know they basically hire. So they basically enlist. I want to say, I guess, hire or enlist, however you want to put it, Sean Penn's character, and Sean Penn's character goes in to basically put a stop to him. So I'll put it like this: I'm not going to give you too much of the synopsis, I guess, uh, because I probably won't tell you much because the trailer doesn't show you much. If you see the trailer to this movie and you kind of go in watching the movie, you're not gonna know what it's about, even just from the trailer. The trailer doesn't really give you much. But I will say one thing I like about Paul Thomas Anderson or PTA is his style. Usually when he's doing certain movies or whatever, his movies are kind of like they're like they basically deal with like the turn of the millennium. So or the turn of that time period. I won't say the millennium necessarily, but that time period. Uh I'll give you an example. The Master. The Master was, towards the end of, I believe, the 1960s. Not necessarily into the 70s, but sort of like turning into that sort of decade, I guess. Um, you have Licorice Pizza. I haven't seen Licorice Pizza, but I wanted to see it. But that is kind of like it's kind of like the turn of the 80s going into the 90s, basically. Uh, or what was another one? There'll Be Blood. That was an amazing film if you haven't seen it. But There'll Be Blood was kind of like that too. The roaring 1920s, and we're going into like later, like during the gold rush, basically the turn of the century from the gold, or the decade from the gold rush. So he does a lot of movies like that, with Inherent Vice, just all his movies. And this movie's kind of no different. I don't really think the movie really even told. I think the weirdness to this movie, because it is a kind of a weird movie in a way, because it's like they don't necessarily tell you what time frame you're in. Because I was actually wondering at the whole time, I was like, so is this current day? Is this back in the day? Because of the way the cars look. But at the same time, people are using cell phones. So I like how PTA does like that sort of weird dynamic with the time period, because you don't really know what time period you're in. And then, like, how most films will give you like a timestamp or something like that. He doesn't do that in here. There's no timestamps. So, he kind of leaves it up to your interpretation as to what time this is, when this is happening, things of that nature. Uh, and another thing I've seen too was people who are saying like, "Oh, this movie is the quote unquote woke," is what I've heard. I've seen a lot of people say, and it's not. There's nothing like that here. Um, because I think a lot of people are saying it's more of a left leaning film, and I disagree with that. I disagree with that sentiment, and the reason why I say I disagree with it being a more left focused film, like as far as like the political spectrum, I think it sort of points out the faults of both sides, and I think the way it does that is by showing that all the characters are flawed in some way. Um, look at Tiana Taylor's character. There's times where she questions, where is she actually at on the spectrum, and she's as far as like, are what they doing is right, uh you know and how this is going to affect, her when her character starts a family. Same with Leonardo DiCaprio's character. Same with Sean Penn's character. And those people that that are part of like a corporate America. Um, how the hierarchy holds the most power. And I think it goes it I think it shun I think it I won't say shun necessarily, but it shows the flaws in both sides. And I think that's where the movie shines. And this is why I say I like Paul Thomas Anderson's movie so much, because there's a lot in this movie. And like I said, I'm not going to completely give you a plot. That was sort of a little bit of what I gave you, but even from the little bit I told you, you're still not going to really know what's going on until you actually watch the movie. Chase Infinity, I never heard of her before. She's phenomenal in this. I can see her definitely going places, especially her being so young. And she's one of those actresses that plays like a 16-year-old in here, but you can tell she's like in her 20s. I didn't even look up her age, but I'm pretty sure she's like in her, she's got to be like in her early, almost mid 20s. But she does do a good job in here as a 16-year-old high school student that's sheltered by her father, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo's good in here. I mean, what can I tell you at this point? Leo is a Oscar caliber actor, and if you haven't seen that yet, I don't know what movies you're watching with Leonardo DiCaprio, but maybe you're watching those some of those mediocre ones he did back in the '90s or whatever. But I think after Gangs in New York, The Departed, Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, what else does this guy have to do at this point? Inception. Like what more does he have to show you that he's a Oscar caliber actor? All this dude does is go after Oscars at this point. And I wouldn't even be shocked if he wins an Oscar for this film. Uh my one of my favorite actors in here is Sean Penn. Sean Penn in this movie is the definition of a creep. Like this dude he's so weird. He's so weird. But um he's gonna be my pick honestly for best supporting actor. If they ever have that. I've always thought Sean Penn was a good actor, but this movie right here, man, like he really killed it in this, and he's such a weird dude in here, man. Y'all gotta see him. He's a creep. He's weird. I'm not even gonna tell you what he does, but it's just his mannerisms, the way, just his facial expressions, and I guess the guy he's playing is based on. He's like he actually has him down, like his mannerisms and everything. So I guess the guy in real life was a creepy weirdo or something. Uh, Now this is another PTA movie based on a Thomas Pychon novel from the '90s. The last Thomas Pychon novel he adapted was Inherent Vice, starring Joaquin Phoenix. So like, and in some ways it had some of that inherent vice sort of like direction, or dreamy like vibes in some way too. Uh, there's this really well directed car chase scene in the movie, and is the most tense thing. Like it's not like a and it's nothing like Fast and the Furious, or it's not like a super like bombastic like huge race spectacle or whatever, like you see like Fast and the Furious or something like that. No, this is probably the most subtle, like intense car chase you'll ever watch in a movie. And it's just like it's a car chase. Is really, it involves three cars out in the middle of nowhere. That's all I'm going to say about it. Just the way, just the camera tricks that Paul Thomas Anderson does. I was like, this man is like, I hate to be on this dude like this, but his directing is insane. Like he's like one of the best directors out there. Like it's crazy. Um, so I know the movie lost money too. I'll probably make another video for that as well. But um, this movie, like like the just the acting down the board. And I had told y'all, man, I had told y'all in that Tyler Perry movie, because I heard some of y'all dogging Tiana Taylor's acting. I was like, she wasn't bad in that movie. It was just Tyler Perry can't direct. This movie, Tiana Taylor, the little bit of time that screen time she has in, because she's not in the movie that long, but the little bit of time that she's in here, she's phenomenal, man. I told y'all, I was like, this girl can act, man. Like, because y'all looking at her singing career, and I'm like, I'm telling you, this girl has it, man. She can act, and this movie proves it. She's very good in this. Like I said, for the little bit of time she had. Um, And I didn't talk about my boy Benicio del Toro in here. Man, Benicio del Toro, he's so cool in here, man. He's so smooth. He plays the sensei. Oh my god, man. That dude is he's one of those dudes where like he's so laid back and like he's so like chill. Like this is like and I noticed it watching the movie because like they're like him and Leonardo DiCaprio are like two total opposites because Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie, he's all freaking out and he's all jumpy and everywhere and all over the place or whatever. Um, and because Leonardo DiCaprio, he works for what's the name of that rebel group? I think he works for. It's called the French 75. Regina Hall is in that as a part of it too, because she's in the French 75 also. It's her, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and it's Tiana Taylor's character. Um, and they, and this pretty much it's just about your belief system. Everybody has a different belief system, and then at the same time, it's like these people are on the run, for their crimes, and there's a lot of morality that plays into this movie. It's a ton of morality uh, that goes on with the French 75, the government, um, everything that takes place in this movie. And again, I think Paul Thomas Anderson, again, he's not a director. He's not going to his movies, like the people who I run into that say, I'm tired of remakes, I'm tired of superhero movies, I'm tired of sequels. This is none of that. Like this is a very original movie. I've never even heard of anyone doing a movie like this. This movie caught me by surprise, and it's very good. Um, like if you don't know anything about Paul Thomas Anderson, I will say the movie is a 3 hour movie. I don't know if I felt the length. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes, so almost a 3 hour movie. Uh, but I don't know if I felt the length because I was just so into everything. It just felt like everything flowed nicely to me. Uh, yeah, this is one of my favorite movies next to Sinners. Uh, so yeah, this one's gonna be a highly recommend. Highly recommend. And I also highly recommend that you go check out some more PTA stuff. Paul Thomas Anderson. Like I said, he's not going to blow up the box office. His movies aren't going to do Marvel numbers, or he's not going to do. He's that director. He's not going to do like. He's not going to do like Michael Bay numbers or any of those big directors that you know, but he's going to give you a damn good film experience. And I felt like that's what I got with this movie, and I do plan on giving it another watch as well too, because I really did enjoy this. One battle after another, so that's going to be a high recommend for me. So if you saw one battle after another, what did you think about the movie? Did you like the movie? uh did you think, Rob, you're crazy? Why did you like this 3 hour bloated artsy crap? This, why'd you like this BS? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I say this movie, this shit was incredible. This shit was really incredible. I'll have to I'll definitely have to check it out again. And again, I encourage you to, if you ever talk about you want to see original films, check out a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. But yeah, that is my review for One Battle After Another. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.